Joining me now with the answers, Iowa Congressman Steve King and Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger. Guys, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me,
Sean. Great to be here.
All right. First of all, and Paul Ryan was very generous with his time last night and really went into great length to explain this, Congressman King. And he's saying that, in fact, it couldn't happen. Speaker Boehner was saying pretty much the same thing as well. Is that your take on this, that there can or cannot be tax increases, or technically there can, but it won't happen?
Well, I'd say certainly technically it can. Their analysis is a political analysis that says it won't happen. It won't happen because the alternative minimum tax and the Bush tax brackets are scheduled to expire at the end of this year, which creates about a $3.5 trillion tax increase. And their calculus is that any tax increases they would add in to come up with this $1.5 trillion in savings would have to eclipse that number, and that it would be politically impossible for them to do that. That's the calculus. And the other side of that calculus may well be the president deciding that he's going to veto anything that would end the Bush tax brackets and anything that might extend the alternative minimum tax. And Harry Reid said it today,
too. I mean, they're telling their side today, Harry Reid and President Obama, that they're going to raise taxes. Now, what's fascinating to me, Congressman Kinzinger, is that the CBO scoring, you know, because the Bush tax cuts do expire in 2013, I believe January 2013. They are scoring these budgets to assume that this will be the largest tax increase in history, and I don't think that's gotten quite the attention that it probably needs to get.
No, well, let me first off say the other side, the president, Harry Reid, they're out saying, oh, we can raise tax under this because they have to save some kind of face. They got defeated. The president in January said, raise the debt limit and no spending cuts, and we did exactly what we said we did. We didn't raise taxes, and we cut more than we raised the debt limit by. They have to try to save face. But what this law does, what we did yesterday, actually is about reducing spending. It doesn't address the tax cuts. That's going to be a whole separate fight that we have. And I'm going to tell you, there's going to be many more fights coming up. I look at this as, how do we advance our team to the goal and get a touchdown? It can't be a touchdown throw every time, but we got a first down yesterday, and I'm ready for the next first down.
All right, but I guess this is what it comes down to, what I've been arguing for this baseline budgeting argument. I'd like to freeze spending. I'd like to cut it 1% a year and do the MAC plan. Congressman King, while they did change the debate, and I believe the Tea Party heavily influenced this. The debate has changed, but we're still in this period of time where we're, quote, saving $1 trillion. We're going to take on $8 trillion in new debt, and that's if the interest rates stay the same. That's if the growth scenarios projected stays the same, correct?
Well, I don't think there's any question about that in the gross projection. And by the way, the revenue calculus does calculate the tax increases that come at the expiration of the Bush tax brackets. That is part of the calculation of that baseline. But what we really need to be looking at, I think, is what will our outlays be annually at the end of this 10 years? It'll either be $5.6 trillion annually if we'd done nothing, $5.4 trillion if this deal hangs together for the balance of 10 years, or it'll be $4.6 trillion under the Ryan plan. Another way to look at it would be, what would be the overall national debt at the end of this 10-year period of time? $28 trillion if we do nothing, $26 trillion with this plan, $23 trillion with Ryan. So we've lost ground on the Ryan part of this budget. Nobody's saying that. I wanted to at least hold that line to the Ryan budget. I thought that was an important principle.
Why can't we explain something, Congressman Kinzinger, why can't we explain something to people? 2011, we spent $3.7 trillion. We take in $180 billion a month. We spend $120 billion additional dollars. We borrow 40 cents of every dollar we spend, basically. Why can't we explain to the American people, we'll hold the line at this year's level? Hold it.
Well,
and we'll cut
here's
it 1%
the big
a
issue.
year. Why is that so complicated when the American people can do that? Hold the line. No, we have projected increases of 8% a year every year after this.
It's not complicated, but here's the situation. We put forward discussing how to save Medicare for future generations, talking about that mandatory spending, as Paul Ryan calls it, that autopilot spending. That's the real issue. That's where these drastic increases are coming. Yesterday, we held discretionary spending levels to continually declining levels, but it is that mandatory spending, and we made an attempt to do something about it. I had $1 million spent against me on Chicago television in my campaign because I dared talk about how to preserve Social Security in the long run. That's what we have to do. And until we can broach that, we're going to continue to have these conversations around this.
Is it going to take a Republican Senate, more conservatives in the House, and a conservative president to really get to the baseline budgeting aspect of this, which is really crucial?
Yeah, I think that it does. I don't want to take away from the effort that's gone into this, nor some of the principles that we'll be debating, including the opportunity to pass a balanced budget out of the House and the Senate. But I do think that politically, the foundation of the core of the philosophy needs to move to the right in the House and the Senate. We need to elect a president before we can truly fix this problem. We're going to have to tighten our belts a lot more than we're willing to do today.
All right, guys, thanks for being with us.